All right, welcome inside the locker room on a Monday morning. Yes, a rainy, wet Monday morning on Smooth 98.1. Excuse me, love music, love life. Almost choked there. Apologies for that. Welcome along to the sporting side of life on a Monday, 16 minutes past 8 a.m. Ayokunmi Kekirekun here. I'm so excited to start the week talking about what's going on in the world of sports, and I'm pretty sure that you are as well after a weekend of sporting action across the board. It's going to be an amazing show as always. And you know that it's going to be amazing because it's me and the one and only Sports Amazon herself, the queen of sports, as you know, I love to call her now. Tega Supreme is joining me. Tega, good morning to you. Welcome into the locker room.
Good morning. You have to greet me well. I don't like the way you greet me without excellence. I don't like it.
Without
After what we
excellence.
have done for this country, eh? Nigerian women saving Nigeria since the Aba women riots. I don't like the way you're talking to me. It's not polite. It's very
Apologies.
rude of you. You have
Apologies,
to
Your
greet me
Majesty.
well. Okay. All right. So speaking about women, hot news, hot fresh off the stove.
Mm,
So Shakari Richardson is not going to be competing for America in the 200 meters. You know how it is. Once the Americans conduct trial, it doesn't matter if your name is Usain Bolt. If you don't qualify from the trials, you can't compete at the main event. So she got arrested the day before the trials, or 2 days
yeah.
before the trials, for domestic violence. She was shoving her boyfriend. Um, so she got arrested and she was released, and then she went to the trials and she finished fourth. So at the 200 meters in the World Championship that will take place in September, Shakari Richardson will not be competing for the United States of America. Shockingly, the boyfriend she was shoving qualified.
Just imagine the
The
irony.
biggest karma in life. Why are you beating your boyfriend? What's wrong with you? All right. So that was fresh off the stove. Also tonight we'll be talking about all the big names that have fallen in the National Bank Open in Canada, in Montreal, Canada. Coco Golf, Igor Swiatek. We'll talk about their matches. So we'll be talking tennis today. We'll also talk about Manchester United. They're about to do something evil. We'll talk about what evil Manchester United is about to commit. We'll talk about all of that. And then the big news, the biggest. Nigerian women at it again,
Mhm.
winning their fifth consecutive Afro Basket Women's Championship.
Five Pete's.
One, two, three, four, five. All five fingers on one hand. We'll talk about all of that and more inside the locker room. But before we do any talking, Ayokumi, tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room today?
All right, to join us in the locker room today, to join me and Her Majesty in the locker room this morning. Send your messages in to us on WhatsApp and on YouTube as well. The WhatsApp number is 0911 0981 YouTube, you can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments in the chat box there. Get your front row seat to all the great sporting action and everything in between in the locker room. All right, let's begin. Yes, with the big one coming out of the world of basketball here. It has to do with the Tigress of Nigeria. They've cemented their dominance in African women's basketball, clinching their fifth consecutive FIBA Women's AfroBasket title with a commanding 78-64 victory over Mali. Tega is noise.
I don't like the way you're saying commanding, because at some point some of us didn't have any fingernails left. All right. So you know how it is, as usual, the struggle is real with the preparation for Nigerian athletes for major tournaments. You know how it is. But
Mm.
somehow the women have found a way, regardless, to just stand on their 10 toes and deliver. So I won't say the preparation was the greatest. And like I always say, the rest of Africa is catching up. Nobody's sleeping. So Senegal was actually the toughest one. Senegal, I was almost certain we were on our way out, especially after the horrible third quarter we played. But the girls bounced back in the fourth quarter and they're able to get to the finals. Now in the finals, you would expect that, okay, they've learned their lessons, they are good to go. They had a 10-point lead. And then before we knew it, halftime ended 41-41 all. They closed the gap. I was like, what are these girls doing? Don't they know that my blood pressure has not come down from yesterday? Why, why are they doing this to us? And then they had a good third quarter, and then the fourth quarter it became a little tight, but still, ultimately, it was tension all through the last minute. The girls said they had it in control, but for us that were watching, it was tension all through. But they were able to clinch their fifth title now, their fifth consecutive title, but their seventh title overall. So let's not mix it up. And then the Nigerian coach, Rena Wakama, is the first woman to win back-to-back AfroBasket championships. So the first woman to win it, the last time she won it, now first woman to win it back-to-back. So congratulations to all the girls. The presidency has sent representatives, so hopefully we'll see if we are going to get our own $100,000 because that's all I'm waiting for.
I mean, what is good for the goose is sauce for the gander, as they say.
I'm telling you, because if you want to
Uh-huh.
give, once you set a precedent, everybody's
Mm,
coming out of the, and we are not just collecting the $100,000. There must be house involved because there was three
yes, so.
bedroom flat, Abi,
Mm-hmm,
and then there
mm-hmm.
was OON involved. So national
Uh-huh.
honors. So let's just
Exactly.
see what the girls are going to get. But I hope that all of them will be able to come because remember, they don't stay in Nigeria. So the first thing
Mm,
we need to do is try and get all of them here. Um, we have to provide the accommodation, celebrate them, and then they can start going to their places. So let's see how it works for them. So the Nigerian women, my gender, Ayokunmi, what has your gender done for us today?
I'm here in the studio, so fair enough.
Please leave the place. Leave the place.
Okay.
All
All right.
right, let's take the
After the
next
locker room.
story.
All right, on to the next story. Let's talk about one of our very own. That is Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman. Now, he has spoken out strongly against his current club, Atalanta, accusing them of blocking a potential move away despite what he describes as prior arrangements and repeated discussions. This issue with Lookman and Atalanta, it's unsavory.
It's unsavory. And I also think this issue with Nigerian footballers and their European clubs, I don't understand the disrespect, or maybe is it the disrespect? Is it the agency? There's something clearly off because remember Osimhen had his own issue
Hmm.
with Napoli, and people were questioning why a striker of Osimhen's caliber will be struggling to get a club. And now we're talking about Ademola Lookman, somebody that had one of the best seasons last season for his club. Ideally, this shouldn't be a struggle. But he posted on his social media about having a gentleman's agreement, and now he's allegedly saying that Atalanta are blocking, his transfer despite people meeting the transfer what's it called request. So it's the most unsavory, the most ridiculous thing. And it started, remember from last season when the coach called him out for missing a
Yeah,
penalty, and then
yeah.
it now tapered off to the end of the season. And at the end of the season, everybody thought, okay, he's definitely moving. Because if I were his agent, should be told, from that time that the coach said that thing, I would have started shopping. I'd start having meetings. The player doesn't need to know, but I will start making phone calls. It doesn't need to be official, but I start making phone calls. But here we are now, in August, and he has come out to have to officially request and then officially complain. I think is the most ridiculous thing. Something is just not right somewhere. And I don't think it's only disrespect. That maybe we need to do something differently about structuring the systems around players so that
Mm,
Nigerian players don't have to come out looking this bad. Now he has
yes,
to make a
indeed.
public statement.
And
Doesn't look well.
It's interesting because you talked about Osimhen as well. Both of them play for Italian clubs. I wonder.
Yeah.
I just
So
wonder.
So is it the country? There's definitely something up, and it needs to end. So that we have to get to the bottom of.
Most definitely. All right, let's take a pause from football briefly and talk about what's going on in the world of tennis. Australia Open champion Madison Keys saved 2 match points on the way to a three-set victory over Karolina Mukova, to reach the
Yeah.
WTA Canadian Open quarterfinals on Sunday as former world number one Naomi Osaka roared into the last eight.
Yes, so those are the big names making it. Naomi Osaka has had such a brilliant tournament. It's shocking that she was with Moratoglu, who was Serena's coach, if you remember, and she had a bad 10 months. She left now. She's with, if you remember, Iga Swiatek's Polish coach. He's now Naomi Osaka's coach, and he just came this week. And all of a sudden, she's playing brilliant tennis and getting results too, which is what was different. She was playing good tennis before, but she wasn't getting results. Now she's playing brilliant tennis and getting the results. So that's the difference. But for Madison Keys, after the Australian Open, she had set a standard. Once you win a Grand Slam, everybody's looking up to you.
Mm.
She faltered in some places, but this week she's fought back. Showed the heart of a champion. She was on her way out. Her tickets were bought, her flight was booked, her bags were packed. And then she saved those match points to stay in the tournament and then to win that match. So she's still in. But the same cannot be said about her fellow American Coco Gauff, who was brutally beaten. I kid you not.
Italy beaten.
I was watching her get beat in astonishment. It wasn't She didn't have a bad day. She was just beaten mercilessly by Victoria Mboko. Now, Victoria
Mm.
Mboko is a young girl from, well, originally from Congo, whose parents moved to the US and now they're relocated to Canada. She's a Canadian citizen. And she's been playing, you watch Victoria Mboko at 18 and you can see that she has great talent, she has great movement, and she's going places. So she was in great form, but when she stepped up against Coco Gauff, I suspected that she was going to be able to beat Coco Gauff because of the way Coco Gauff has been serving. 42 double faults. I've not seen this kind of
Wow.
thing before. 42 double faults in 3 matches. How are you double faulting like that as the number 2 ranked player in the world? But she steps up against Coco Gauff and she brutalized her 6-1, 6-2. It wasn't a close fight. It wasn't a battle. There was no contention. If you were watching that match, those two players for the first time, you would almost guarantee that Victoria Mboko was the one with 2 Grand Slams. Coco Gauff looked like an amateur. She was beaten mercilessly. But whilst we were getting over that, Iga Swiatek came on last night on court and she lost in straight sets to Clara Townsend. Not beaten mercilessly, but this time you could tell she went on self-destruct. So she was whilst Coco Gauff was beaten, Iga Swiatek was the enemy of her own or the creator of her own downfall. So the two top seeds are out. World number 1 ranked player at the tournament and number 2 ranked player at the tournament. I think the favorites now are Madison Keys and Naomi Osaka.
Hmm. Madison Keys, Naomi Osaka looking good. Coco Gauff, though, I wonder what is going on with her. I mean,
Ah, I've,
42,
somebody will just wake up in the morning and be hitting double faults. Your serves are your serve is the only shot you have control on in a tennis match. Not your returns, not your forehands, no matter how great they are. Your serves. You're hitting 42 in 3 matches. Highest ranked player in the tournament. If it's not village people, I don't know what that is.
uh, and on that note, let's take a brief pause for a breather, and when we come back in, we'll head into the world of Formula One. Ferrari boss is anyway, Sha, we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Keep it tuned in the locker room on Smooth 98.1. Coco Golf needs prayer amongst other things because I don't understand. Honestly, don't understand what her problem is.
And when this new coach came, the reason she hired him was that he helps with the basics. So sometimes, once these players have reached a particular level, they can't go back to learning with the basics. But he also helps with the basics. So he was definitely someone that was supposed to help with her serves. But her serves have become worse. She's won a Grand Slam with him, but the serves have just become worse. So
And that is saying something. For
that's
yourself
saying
to
a
get
lot.
worse than better, and you're like a highly ranked player. Ugh, I don't know.
World number two.
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. How many great players have been able to survive without having a good, a good serve?
None, because even the likes of Rafa Nadal that didn't have a great serve, he used to hit it at angles. So it wasn't the biggest of serve, but he will hit it at an angle that gives him room. And he never hit so many double faults. I've never seen it's recently that I'm seeing people without big serves being so highly ranked. People like Swiatek and Coco. I've not seen it before. All the great players I know, they used to have good serves. Not the biggest, not the most powerful, but good.
What good? Interesting. Okay, stepping back in. Welcome back to the locker room on a Monday morning here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. We love sports as well. It is a beautiful, rainy, cold Monday morning. Hope you are thriving and doing well. And of course, you're getting things heated up as you're listening to yours truly, Ayokunmi and Her Majesty, Tega Supreme, also with me. Yes, because Nigerian women have been doing bits in the world of sports, making us proud left, right, and center. You can also be a part of this discussion. Share your thoughts with us on stories, talk about the Tigress, and so on and so forth. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 That is 0911 999 Also, get your front row seats on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. A couple of comments already. Here on YouTube. Tega, should we take one or two before we talk
Let's
about
take
what's...
one or two. Yeah, let's take one or two before we go into.
All
Yeah.
right, LK Adiraba says, congrats to the Tigress. Our ladies are doing us proud. I'm wondering, if the government will pay them $100,000 and as they paid the Falcons since a precedent has been set. We wonder as well. And we talked about this last week. Richard Deniro says, the Nigerian women in sports have over the years done the country proud compared to their male counterparts. Only that that male sports are more popular and has a stronger or bigger following. Congrats to the Tigers. Patripayo says the Nigerian women are making us proud in sports. This gender showing that they can do more than the men in everything. They are doing amazing, amazing stuff. Anyways, keep those comments coming in. As we step back into stories here, let's talk Formula One, where Lewis Hamilton received support from his Ferrari team boss, Fred Vasseur, on Sunday, just hours after the Briton cut a dejected figure following a lackluster drive to 12th place in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Ferrari is not really doing it for Lewis.
Well, according to Lewis, he's the one that is saying that he's not doing it for Ferrari. In fact, there was one interview that he said that they said, "So what can Ferrari do to get the best out of the second car?" And he said, "Change the driver." That's how low he sounded. No confidence or so. And it came on the back of back-to-back poor qualifying on Saturday. So last weekend, he qualified poorly. I think he was out in the first in Q1. He didn't make it through Q1 because he exceeded the track limit, so his time was deleted. So he didn't make it through Q1. But he was able to come in from the pit lane to finish in seventh last week. And he thought, okay, maybe an improvement, we can do well. This week, he didn't make it past Q2. Meanwhile, his teammate was on pole. So it clearly can't be only the car. Because if your teammate is qualifying on pole, how are you not making it past Q2? So he started in 12th at the start of the race. He dropped to 14th. And then his race kind of went downhill from there. They're anticipating that with his speed and with the strategy they had, he'd be able to finish in top 10. But first of all, the track is not the easiest track to overtake on. And then it made matters worse that he was stuck behind drivers that he just like harder that he just couldn't seem to overtake. So he caught a dejected figure yesterday, and I think that's really why the boss came out to support him, because it's one thing to have a bad weekend, but it's another thing to have two back to back not great weekends and then stop believing in yourself. I think that's why
Right.
they had to step up and speak for him. But the Grand Prix in and of itself was fantastic. And Lando Norris won this one because of strategy. I think I'm very impressed with the way Oscar Piastri is handling himself, because he was given a two-stop strategy. Lando Norris took a one-stop strategy, and that's how Lando Norris was able to overtake him and win the race. Like I said, this track is not easy to overtake. With the two
Mm.
stop strategy, they're like, oh, you have the fresher tires, you'll be able to overtake. He tried with his fresher tires, it did not work. He ended up finishing second. Um, so ultimately, he was given a strategy that did not come out great for him by the same team that gave Lando a strategy that came out great for him. Oh, to be a fly on the wall. But he was very calm about it. He was like, they told him every single step of the way, and he understands it. He's just going to ask why they didn't give him the one stop. And he said it very calmly, very peacefully. I was like, this would never have happened to Schumacher.
Right.
From the track, he would drive straight into the pit lane and ask his bosses what they were doing. But hey, he's calm. He still lives in the drivers' championship by 9 points. But if he had won the race, he would have been leading by 23 points. So it's such a huge swing.
Mm. Yes,
Mm.
indeed. And, as it is, it looks like it's going to be a McLaren 1-2, and then every other person fights for what is left, really and truly,
No, no, no.
because
It's definitely McLaren. The question is it going to be? My agenda is for Piastri to win it. That's my own agenda. Personally, let me just tell people now so that you know.
agen agenda must agenda.
Agenda must agenda.
Oh my goodness. All right. Moving on back to the world of football here and talking about Man United, and this is what Tega was actually talking about here. They're prepared to sell striker Rasmus Højlund for £30 million. Now, the Denmark striker scored twice against Bournemouth in Chicago on Wednesday.
Maybe
Tega.
auditioning himself for his new buyer. But yes, Manchester United have decided that if somebody came, that they'd be willing to offload Hoyland for 30 million. Now, let's look at it objectively. He hasn't really worked well with the club, and so and the way he started and the lack of belief that the club has in him can also lead to the lack of confidence that a player can have in themselves. And so ultimately, it would look like a good move if he could move away and have a fresh start. And even for the club, if they could get that money and then add to make some new buys. Because remember, the transfer window is open all the way till September. This is just the start of August. So they still have time if someone came to buy him now. So objectively, it would be great. He hasn't had a fantastic season at all. And the fans haven't bought into the idea of Hoyland. So it's not going to be an emotional loss. And it's not out of place to think that, okay, they're trying to sell him. But me personally, I just want to ask, what kind of evil do you want to? You're selling Hoyland. You should be giving him away as a added bonus to anybody that buys player from you. That's how
Wow.
you be.
Wow. Wow.
What they call that thing when you go to the market and they put extra for you after you bought something. What's it
Jara.
called?
Jara.
Uh-huh. You should be giving him as Jara to someone. You want to sell him
Come
for
on.
30 million.
Yes, now.
Uh-uh. If it's you, when you look at his returns from last season, will you buy him for 30 million?
Maybe. I don't know.
Manchester United, they don't have conscience. You want to sell him.
But the
Give
thing is,
just
Tega,
box him up and give him away.
looking at this whole Hoyland situation, personally, I mean, if Man United want to part ways with him, I mean, just 2 years into a 5-year contract, fine, all well and good. They should be prioritizing replacing him with someone that is the finished article. Because if you're
Yes,
saying, okay, bounce Hoyland for Shesko. I don't know how that works because he's also
I
an
see. I
unfinished
don't know how.
article.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that works. But look, the truth of the matter is, they have decided that Hoyland is not working, and they want to bounce him. Um, so I don't think it's a bad idea. Like I said, they've come to the conclusion it's not working. The question will now be like, who are they using it for? But clearly they need the money because Manchester United Radcliffe is not about to spend this kind of money. In fact, I'm hearing that he has binned that idea of the renovation. Remember that renovation he was talking about at Old
Mm,
Trafford? I hear that it has stalled now for a while. So the man is not ready to spend all this money, which is why they have to sell to buy.
definitely. We'll see how it all plays out and whether it works out for all parties that are involved. All right, so talking about football, preseason, and so on and so forth. Let's talk about that game between Tottenham and, of course, Arsenal, where Papa Matissa scored from the halfway line as Spurs punished a shaky performance by Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya to win the first North London derby staged outside the UK by
Exactly.
1-0.
I was going to say, first of all, bragging rights to Tottenham after they won that match, and then they did the trophy presentation, and I'm using trophy in apostrophe. Um, there was a talk about we won Europa, we won and Thomas Frank has won a trophy before Mikel Arteta. I don't understand what's happening. It's just banter, of course. But again, for Tottenham to come out with the upper hand, first of all, they were the team in North London to come away with a trophy. Then they're also now the team to win the preseason North London derby. So
Mm,
great result for them, but it was a great result for them, but poor performance by Arsenal. And you have to look at Arsenal, and it's the same errors. Like I was saying, I haven't seen the improvement. The goal that they conceded, it was a pass from David Raya to Miles Lewis Kelly, who lost the ball, and then they scored the ball from the halfway line over the Viriya, who was way out of position. So when you look at the errors that Arsenal are making, offensively and defensively, it's the same thing. Then you're wondering how they want to win the league with if they're still making the same errors as last season.
they
So we
have
wait to
Kepa
see
now.
how he's not starting over Raya. I can tell you that for free. But the way it is, it's really tricky to see that. However, going back to Tottenham, they defeated Arsenal to win that. What's it called again? The Asian Cup, and then they played yesterday against Newcastle, and they had a 1-1 draw, and that one was the emotional one because that was
Yeah,
Son Heung-min's last game, and both the players of both teams lined up, and you know that thing where you run through the middle and they slap you on the back or on the head or wherever they get to that. There was that for him, and there were hugs and there were tears. It was just so emotional and so beautiful to watch. But yes, Son Heung-min is leaving Tottenham Hotspur and he's moving to the MLS. I must say though, his father has a very I've seen Son Heung-min, very friendly, nice, warm face. His father's face is the exact opposite. Very stoic face. Very stoic. The guy, people were crying. The guy was just looking at them like, "What's happening
I
here?"
guess the I guess the apple fell far from the tree.
Very far.
Goodness gracious. Well, I mean, after 10 years with Spurs, hey, time to move on, I guess. And he's very much loved and very much liked by everyone in Tottenham. Very, very, very quickly, Tega, before we take messages, this Newcastle Isak situation, Liverpool, what's happening
First
now?
of
What's
all,
going on?
first of all, I was mad that they're paying 120 million for Isak. Then I got even madder that Newcastle rejected 120 million. I was like, I know people have some oil backing, but don't you people have some fair play rules to fulfill? Why don't you just take the money? Because 120 million is a lot of baby food for Isak. It's good
Mm,
fee. It's a good fee for him. And considering the fact that the player has said, I don't want to play for you again, collect the
right.
money. Otherwise, you create a dicey situation of a player that doesn't want to be in this locker room with fans that know that he doesn't want to be in the locker room. And then when it all falls apart on the pitch, you start wondering why he didn't do the business earlier. And rest assured, if it falls apart on the pitch, you cannot sell him for 120 million next season. The price will drop.
Definitely.
So
Most
let's wait and
definitely.
see how this pans out. All right, let's take those
Mm.
messages now.
All right, let me take messages starting from WhatsApp here. Emeka says, by my calculations, if 10 titles can give the Falcons $100K, a three-bedroom flat, and OON titles, then 5 titles should give the Tigers $50K, one room self-contained, and a presidential handshake. When they win 10
No,
titles, they'll get the full package.
no. This is see, they did not win the 10 titles consecutively. That's the first thing we must say. And it was not the same team that won those 10 titles. It was teams over time. Now, the team that has won this Afrobasket championship is 5 consecutive, like back to back to back to back to back. So
It's not easy.
it's even a bigger feat than the 10 titles we are talking about. Because remember, last ever the Falcons didn't win it. That's number one. A lot of the players that won this title are a lot of the players that started these 5 consecutive title runs. So
Mm.
let's be fair. The devil is in the detail. The devil is in the detail. All right, let's take
Yes,
some
we
more
did.
messages.
All right, Tayo says, in F1, overtaking is allowed. Lewis Adekunle Hamilton, you are not useless in Jesus' mighty name, said a concerned
Amen.
Nigerian parent. And that Hoyland should be getting a contract extension. Onana alone can't be giving us content. So, roof at Old Trafford will still be leaking next season. Raya on that goal was listening to R. Kelly. I believe I can fly. Havertz is now a defender from the front with that funny tackle. Son leaves Tottenham a man, and Arsenal do not see him in a good light. Meanwhile, shout out to Tayo. Tayo is a real G. He sent prayers to my inbox over my birthday. Tayo, that man you be. That's all I can say in that regard.
Mm.
This is Simon from Uludia. Papa says, Mission V accomplished. Congrats to Nigerians, the Tigress. Congratulations to them indeed. All right, YouTube, let me see here. This is from Bolari Sonny says, Tega, must you close that analysis with a swipe on, on Ayo's gender? If you want to know what we are doing, we are in power in Abuja and see where we are.
Abi, okay. So we are winning, and then you are giving us the $100,000. Okay, fair, fair, fair,
Richard
fair.
Awokoye says, we have missed you. Kudos to the Niger B-ball ladies. Awesome achievement. Our ladies are doing us proud. United making the right moves and playing well. Let's get the new transfers over the line. Adifemi Mathis says, congrats to the Tigers on their 7th title and 5 peat, and congratulations to Coach Rene Wakama, first female coach to win the female upper basket and first female to do it back to back. Very, very amazing stuff. And LK says, when Tega comes for you, she comes for you. Your generation, your family, and your lineage. If Hoyland listens to the locker room today, he will not only think about his life, but also retire from football.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. On that note, thank you so much for sending your messages in via WhatsApp and for streaming on YouTube. Thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. Till we come your way again on Wednesday. Have a fantastic week.
Yes, indeed. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much, Tega. Looking forward to the show on Wednesday. Thank you once again for being a part of the locker room. And I have to say, the fun kicks on this morning on the Smooth Breakfast. 9 o'clock on the dot, a conversation will be had on Vegas Talks.